to laugh at safety. Now they call me Three-Finger Joe.
Good morning. This is Rick Gleason and Don King coming to you from the University of Washington Region 10 OSHA Training Center in Seattle, Washington. And this is the heartbeat of worker health and safety. And so thank you so much for listening to our podcast today. Don, we have two special guests today. Tell us a little bit about them.
Yes, I will, Rick. Thank you for that. These two gentlemen are unique individuals as far as I'm concerned for safety professionals because they really care about the people first and foremost and what their lives are about and what's going on with them. And then they get into statistics and cost and schedule and so on and so forth. They're also excellent listeners. I'll introduce first Rob McNeil. I'm going to do this alphabetically, the M and then the S. Rob has been in safety for about 10 years or so. Prior to that, he was an electrician. So that gives him a unique set of professional eyesights that he looks at a job differently than most safety professionals, which I think is really excellent. Rob has worked on many owner-controlled insurance programs and contractor-controlled insurance programs. He's worked in construction sites as with contractors, but he also is an area manager looking over several projects in several states at the same time. He is a very devoted family man and actually puts family first before anything else, which I think is great. Byron Small has also been in the safety arena for the last decade and been overseeing health and safety multi-billion-dollar sites. Actually has a value up to about $15 billion in scope on some of the sites he's been overlooking. Again, he has a unique ability to sit down and listen to what people are saying and then ask good questions and then say, how can I best help you with what's going on? So it really works well. Byron is also past president and was deputy regional vice president for Region 1 in California, and has a CHST and a OHST designation, as well as Rob has a CHST. Byron also, on his off time, when he is not with his family and taking care of them, plays a mean bass guitar and is in a local blues band in Los Angeles. So, gentlemen, the topic today is called Safety is Unsafe. It's an intriguing title, so why don't you take it away if you want to say a few words to add on what I talked about. Jump in there and let's get going.
Well, Don, first, I'd like to just thank you and Rick for having myself and Byron on. And there's not enough good things we can say about Byron Small. I'll just say that.
Thank you, Rob.
Byron and I, we talk a lot about strategies. We cover large areas. And one of the things, safety is so analytical in 2018. And one of the trends within the world of safety is a lack of self-awareness on the part of the safety professionals. And what I mean by that is sometimes we talk so much about the hardworking men and women in the field, but we lose sight of how we manage the brand of safety. And it's all about them. But when you look at culture, a culture is created with people, not with rules and regulations. We manage people to be safe. We don't manage safety. And a lot of times, we don't do a very good job of understanding how we sell safety. Who is the face of safety within the organization? And I know that when I talk to Byron, I get a lot better at recognizing how do I demonstrate and display safety within the region that I help support.
Yeah, thank you, Rob, for saying that. And Rick and Don, also, thank you for having the two of us on. Yeah, we felt this topic was very important because as safety professionals, I think we're at a place where the same message of safety and compliance it's been beaten to death. And we, Rob and I told Rob, we're cut from the same, not just the same cloth, we're cut from the same piece of fabric, in fact, because we understand that relationships are relationships are the foundation of where we start from. We have to start with building relationships. Rick, I don't know if you're married, but Don, I know you're married. Can you imagine your spouse telling you, I just want to do the bare minimum to love you. I just want to do the bare minimum to stay in this relationship. And if I can do that, I'm sure you'll be happy. Right? Can you imagine that? But in reality, as safety professionals, a lot of times that's what we're selling. We're selling bare minimum. We're selling minimum compliance as our foundation. And then, right after that, we say, but we love you, but we care for you.
Right.
We're selling minimum compliance because we care about you. And it actually should be the opposite. I told Rob the other day, I asked the question, what came first, caring for people or policies and procedures? So as Rob mentioned it at the start of this, he said something about the brand. And I think the branding, being self-aware of what we're selling, how we're selling it, is so important to the safety professional because we should be, no matter where we are, who we work for, we should be the conscious of the organization. We got into this for a reason, and I think we just got to get back to it. So safety is not safe because we as safety professionals, we're kind of losing our way, right? We kind of forgotten why this industry started and how important it is to build relationships.
This is great, guys. I was very much intrigued by your title, "Safety Isn't Safe," and now it makes sense in what you're saying.
So, Rob and Byron, how do you foresee us changing this brand? What are some of the ideas we can start to do to drill down and get this shifted?
Well, Don, I think it's more about, small things is what creates the most value. Byron and I, when we talk about this, the things that create the greatest amount of impact, can be as simple as, establishing respect between who's ever in charge of safety in the field. Sometimes it's as small as remembering somebody's name. When I look back on my career as an electrician, the safety professionals that really impacted my behavior when nobody was looking were the ones that understood my reality as an electrician. In my world today, I get paid to be safe. When I was an electrician, I was paid to be productive.
Very good.
So,
yeah, and I would add, Don, I'm sorry, I would add to that. I think in order for us to get to this place, we need to put culture over compliance, and we need to be authentic to our message. I think safety should not be a sales technique. Obviously, a lot of companies use it to grow business. You got to show that you're a safe company, and obviously stats are important. But I think when you can really focus on culture over compliance and be authentic to your message, it's believable. I think if we're all in safety, and if we're willing to have a genuine conversation, I think we would all agree that the folks that we're talking to, the workplace, right, the folks that we're trying to influence, they know when we're not being genuine. But yet we come in wearing a mask and we're trying to sell them something as if it's a play. It's not a play. It's actually real life stories, real life scenarios, real life people that exist in these narratives. And so I think we can remove the mask, get back to having genuine conversations, building genuine relationships with people. That's the starting place for us to get there.
Yeah, makes sense. Absolutely makes sense. And then I guess the other part that comes into play is when they come up with a schedule that is unrealistic, and then they want us to come up with the banners that say, "We care and we want you to be safe." There must be a way we can also interact with that in some manner that would be fruitful for all, which means if we're building relationships, we're also building guys that want to do the right thing and will, in fact, meet that schedule with the right attitudes and the right people talking to the right people on the bus.
Yeah, I would agree. But I think, being professionals, right? I think looking at a situation like that, Don, I think Rob would agree with me. Both can still be achieved. You can still meet schedule and still care for people and have real conversations in the workplace. But being a professional, we need to know, do a little triage management. Who do we get to first to have these conversations before you go off and sell that job to that client about delivering that job in a short time frame? What are the risks associated with that? Who's going to be impacted by that? And you need to get to the appropriate stakeholders to have that conversation and hit them with a dose of reality and conscience for safety at that level before you get out to the field and get boots on the ground. So we need to be the conscience of any organization we're part of and have the right relationships with all parties involved.
Totally agree. Absolutely.
And Don, just to piggyback on what Byron was saying, we've been in the business long enough. Sometimes you get on the job and the schedule is set, and sometimes it is an unrealistic schedule, and we all kind of know that, right? And a lot of times we get in after the fact and we're kind of trying to manage damage. I know in my world today, when I visit a job site, I'm more of a therapist than I am a safety manager, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't manage what I want. I manage what I have. But one of the ways to really create some mutual respect with the relationship, with the field, with the hardworking men and women in construction, is in our world today, we don't listen to hear, we listen to respond. And sometimes if we would just slow down enough, and we always talk about a sincere message and being genuine. How do we truly listen to the concerns of the field? Do we listen to hear, or do we listen to form a rebuttal and respond? Sometimes the listening piece is just as important as the response piece.
Boy, guys, this is absolutely great stuff, and we're just scratching the surface. If somebody had thoughts, comments, questions, wanted you to get your opinion, how could they contact each of you if you wanted to give us your contact information?
Absolutely. If anyone would like to speak to Rob or myself or me directly, this is Byron speaking. You can reach me at byron1@gmail. That's BYRONSMALL, the number 1 at gmail.com. And Rick, before I close out, I think Rob, he did a good job of bringing the message home. But the reality is, the mental health component is equally as important, and the mental health component doesn't require any compliance, right? There's nothing in OSHA, there's nothing in EPA, DOT that asks employers to speak to the mental health component. If you have an employee that's dealing with the issue in the family, let's say, for example, their kid has leukemia, and they're expected to come on that job and perform at the highest level and not get injured, we need to create an atmosphere at that workplace that will allow conversation about the mental health piece. How do we get around that obstacle? I think savvy employers know how to do that. Companies that are safety conscious will make an effort to reach their folks on a mental level first. But thank you guys again for that opportunity.
Thank you, Byron. And Rob, what is there a good contact for you?
Yes, sir. Rob.McNeil, McNeal, @hotmail.com.
That's perfect. you guys. I just appreciate so much. You kind of just whetted our appetite, for this whole concept. And this has been Rick Gleason and Don King with our two guests today, Byron Small and Rob McNeil, coming to you from the heartbeat of worker health and safety in the Region 10 OSHA Training Center. By the way, if you ever need to just contact us, we're at ce@uw.edu. So that would be the letter C and the letter E at the letter U and the letter W.edu. So any last thoughts, comments, Don, words of wisdom for us?
Well, a couple things. Is it June is going to be our safety month coming up. And what I'd like to ask of all the people out there in industries, whether you're in construction or in a manufacturing plant or in an aircraft plant, let's start looking at our workers and each other and saying, if you're going up, hook up. And let's start seeing if we can't get more involved in fall protection individually so that we can remind our fellow workers, if you're going up, hook up. I think that makes sense, and it'd be something we can get going out there in the field. Also, a great saying is, when you have exhausted all possibilities, remember this, you haven't. Thomas Edison. To all of you out there, Don and Rick, signing off with aloha.
I was young and feisty, never did things by the book. Just let me get my toolbox and I'll take myself a look. I climbed up on the dozer and with my mechanic's pride said, you can keep it running, friend, while I poke around inside. Shake hands with danger, meet a guy you ought to know. I used to laugh at safety, now they call me Three-Finger Joe. Though I learned a lesson, I forgot it soon enough. The nicks and burns and scratches showed the young ones I was tough. Till another morning, I was grinding on some steel. My other hand got careless and fed my skin into the wheel. Shake hands with danger, step right up and say hello. Grinding wheels and metal are what made me Three-Finger Joe. I've seen mechanics burning and I've seen them take a fall just to save themselves a minute. I've seen them lose it all. I've watched them courting trouble, seen them take a chance and lose. They get careless for a moment, spend a lifetime with the blues. Shake hands with danger. Shake hands with danger. Shake hands with danger. Shake hands with danger. Shake hands with danger and some friends I used to know. Compared to them, I'm lucky to be just Three-Finger Joe.